All right. Name's Drew again, TI. This video is about gang stalking, remote neural monitoring, voice to skull. Um, so I just want to have a few specific stories about stuff that's happened to me as far as being gang stalked. So let's see. I was in Boulder, Colorado one time. Went there. I was homeless. Um, I had been traveling around. Drinking, occasionally doing methamphetamine. Um, and so this is the reason why they can do this to you if you've ever done drugs. Now I've never done methamphetamine for years on end, and my teeth aren't falling out of my head and stuff. Uh, I'm not saying I'm a genius or anything by any means, because that's not the truth at all. But I play chess competitively, and so I have all my mental faculties. So it's not that's not actually what's going on with me. I'm not some stupid tweaker or something. But this is what they'll do is they'll. I've met a lot of people that have done methamphetamine that they do this to because they can get away with it. Because the second you do it, you're discredited. There's nothing you could say. And so, anyways, I was in Boulder, Colorado. Got a job at a restaurant. Staying at the shelter. It was pretty nice, honestly. I mean, my job gave me a bus pass and stuff, and I was and I just fucked it up pretty much, because I struggle with alcohol. I remember one time I went in to work. I went into work pretty much, and I found out that I didn't have to work. I didn't work in the morning, and I was working at night. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go have a beer, a couple drinks, and then that ended up just me not returning to work. So there's really no excuse for that. I mean, but this video isn't about alcoholism. It's about gang stalking. Um, so I one drink turned to two, and then I got a bottle, and then I was homeless, and so I wound up bumping into somebody who had some stuff or whatever, and decided to do that. And so when you are under the influence, if you are a TI and you've ever done drugs or alcohol, this is it's like pouring gasoline onto a fire. It's like pouring kerosene and gasoline onto a fire. You know what I mean? Then pouring it all over yourself. I mean, this is like ding 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 ding. Like they love this. This is their golden opportunity, and they will fuck with you so hard. Well, at least they'll fuck with me, because this has been my experience. And I'm pretty sure they do it to other people too, because I've heard them say it. But anyways, so I'm walking around just kind of really, really fucked up in this town. And the first night was cool, but I'm like fucking just really being an idiot, just being a kind of a piece of shit, just hanging out in bathrooms and just finding little places to, kind of hang out at. And then the next day, like the whole town, like they told these people something, like I was doing something with kids or something. Um, Something like that. I have no idea what it was, but they the whole town was after me, and there was this one guy specifically following me around town, the same dude, and he was like looking at me like on his phone. He wanted me to know that he was looking at me, or that he was seeing me or something. It was definitely, what do you call it, overt. And I mean, you had people like, organized, just walking around and like threatening me, indirected conversation. I mean, there were like kids participating in this thing. It's like the whole town, in some organized fashion, was I think it was a community watch network, and they were told something that wasn't true about me. And then they were trying to get me out of the town. Well, it worked because I left the town, but that's just one example of the kind of shit that can happen. And then some people will say, well, that's what happens when you decide to do drugs and alcohol. Yeah, but if you're not hurting anybody, you know what I mean? I mean, I could see if you're on somebody's private property and stuff, that could be an issue. But if I'm not out here like stealing cars and shit, I'm not condoning use of drugs and alcohol at all. I mean, I'm sober now, and I plan on staying sober for the rest of my life. And I'm not making an excuse to, fuck up your life and do drugs and alcohol. But if you are just minding your own business, or not minding your own business, but if you're not a direct threat to society and like stealing cars and shit and doing all this stuff, I mean, I don't really see a need to have that amount of people gang stalking you. Well, here I'll tell you what's going on. It's not the fact that I was doing drugs and alcohol. It's the fact that I'm a targeted individual. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was, and it's their opportunity to really ramp up the program on you. I want to give another example. I was in Oklahoma, Stillwater, Oklahoma, and in Enid, Oklahoma, and I had some experiences there. Same thing. I was staying in a shelter, moved into this like clean and sober house, and everybody in the town knew something about me. I mean, I literally had, like, I was working in this restaurant. I literally had people that were working in the restaurant, like, taking pictures of me. I seen one of them taking pictures of me, putting me on social media. And I was like, hey, what are you doing? She was like, oh, you'll see. Or some shit like that. I mean, I had stuff happening like that. How these people know about me? I'll tell you how they knew about me. It's because I'm a targeted individual. And the government is using private groups and civilians to target you, harass you, surveillance you. So that's what's going on. And then I went to Stillwater, Oklahoma. It was happening there. I was working in another restaurant, and the same kind of shit happened. They had told all of the people in the restaurant something about me. And so, like, you literally, like, it's cool for 2 weeks, and you go in there, and then one day, like, everybody hates you all of a sudden. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? Well, here's what happened, is somebody told everybody in the restaurant something about me that wasn't true. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine if you worked in a place and there was some new guy that worked there, and then somebody came up to you like, oh, hey, guess what I heard about him? Man, that dude's a communist or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Man, that dude like beats his wife or something. You know what I mean? Or just something like that. You know what I mean? They'll use it. It's called a slander campaign. And so I decided to move out of that town, take a bus all the way to, I was going to go to Flagstaff, Arizona. Again, I'm trying to escape this program, but you cannot escape it at all. And the whole way on the bus, there were people on the bus, like making indirect threats, like this is the last bus ride you're going to take. And then I got off in Flagstaff, Arizona, to stay at a hostel, and then it was happening in Flagstaff, Arizona. I mean, this program's deep, and they have people everywhere that are paid, quite literally paid, to harass people. And they were doing this thing where I would go around town. I'd go up to the liquor store to grab some liquor. I was staying in the hostel, and they would do this thing like, no, like people, like a car would drive by and somebody would be like, no. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And so I hear it once, and then I hear it twice, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then you hear it a third time, and you're like, okay, this is definitely organized. So anyways, and then they told everybody in the hostel that something about me. I have no clue what they told them about me. There were people in the hostel that were perping on me. Like, I'd be cooking food in the kitchen. They come up to me like, hey, where are you from? They have all these weird questions. And they'll do this indirected conversation where they'll stand next to you and say stuff about your life, but not directly to you. So it's just fantastic. It's just fantastic. And I had people following me around the town, these real gang thug looking dudes. So anyways, after that, I had decided to go back to Kansas City, stay with my father one more time. And it was happening to me there again. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on about stories that I've had trying to run from this program. And ultimately, I've realized you can't. You just got to, the best thing you can do if you are a target individual is just get your shit together and try to do the best you can. That is the best thing you could do. And that's what I've decided to do. You know, this is it. You got to deal with it. And then you have to get your shit together. You have to be strong and just do the best you can do. Because ultimately what they want to do, the whole goal of this is they want to get data on you because they're experimenting on you. That's the number one goal. And then also, they want to make you completely destitute. They want to make your friends, your family not believe what you're saying. They want to make you to appear like a mentally ill person. They want to get you in hospitals to get it on paper. And they want you to either commit suicide or they want you to do some act out and get put into a locked up situation. You know, and you can look up Myron Mays, the Florida shooter, the Naval Yard shooter. There's a lot of shooters that are quote unquote hearing voices recently. And Myron Mays, you can look it up. And TI's, I'm sure it's a pretty common name. You already know Myron Mays, but people that don't, look it up. He actually gives a testimony about what was the same stuff that I'm giving testimony on. Um, so unfortunately, there are a lot of TIs that, I hate to use this term, that they are not really working with the full deck to begin with. And a lot of those people, you'll hear, they'll have crazy stories and theories of why this is happening. They'll believe it's their neighbors, or they'll think it's like reptilian shapeshifters, stuff like that. Is, you know, a lot of people, they just don't know what's happening to them. They're hearing voices, and what they'll do is they'll make, like, a car will drive by and they'll simulate the voice to skull, make it seem like it's that car, when in reality it's not that car at all. They're just coming at it to where it's sounding like it's in some direction. Or they'll make it sound like somebody's yelling from a house, but it's really not them yelling from a house. It's just the voice to skull. I mean, it's honestly really amazing technology. It's just used for a really evil purpose. But anyways, that's just kind of my just quick summary on actual gang stalking. I'm going to make a video or two about the voice to skull or remote neural monitoring. So I'll see you guys on the next video.